business owners, we encounter a ton of fear and doubt, right? So how do you what do you employ to kind of overcome some of those things?
Well, I get up every morning and I have to do my meditation. I listen to Joe Dispenza and Abraham Hicks every morning. They have one that I just really love because it's really talking about your mind and your thoughts and how if you really focus on it, you can do it. And I'll do that, and it works. So it's really focusing on your mind, having positive affirmations, having positive people around you, and I'm talking to myself all the time, saying, "You can do this.
Yeah.
You got this." And my understanding is if you speak those positive words, your subconscious mind and your cells will carry it out. So,
Welcome to our podcast series called Corner Stories. So
thank
glad to
you.
have you.
Yeah.
This series we're kicking off this month, which happens to be also Black History Month. So
Mhm.
we are really blessed to have so many wonderful people of color that we work with that we can use our platform to kind of grow their following and be able to kind of share their stories. And that's the part that I get the most excited about, because I think a lot of times people will come into Nuts and Berries and they'll buy a product, but they don't necessarily know kind of the love and the spirit that goes into the products that are being made. And so that's sort of what this series is all about.
Mhm.
So tell us about Temple Keepers.
Okay, Temple Keepers is a holistic wellness business. I started it kind of haphazardly a long time ago, 1998, and it was really started out of my story, basically. Some experiences or challenges that I had had with my health, and so I wanted to be able to share my experience and be able to help people as they navigate maybe perhaps that same journey, and help them to navigate like certain things that I ran into, and the medical field wasn't really able to help me, and it was like really no solution. So I'm just kind of doing my research on my own and trying to figure out how do I solve this. There has to be some answer. So that's how I started. Now the name came about pretty interesting because I kind of wanted to develop this business and be able to give back and help others, but I didn't know what to call it. Now this is an interesting story. One evening I was Sunday evening, I was in church years ago, and a guest pastor was speaking, and he said, we ought to be temple keepers and tell people how to, maintain their body. I was like, oh, that's it. That's the name. That's the name of my business. So it's kind of an odd way of how I got it, but I didn't know what I was going to call it at the time. I didn't have a name for it. And
Yeah.
so that's how I got the name. And so to me, it made sense. Our body is a temple and we need to learn how to manage it and take care of it. The whole thing is if without your health, your health is your wealth. And without your health, to me, there's not a lot that you can do. You may not be able to fulfill your purpose, or your mission that you came here for.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it started. Um, and it still took me a while to navigate because I still didn't know what I was going to do. I went to school and got a naturopathic doctorate, certificate or something like that at Clayton College of Natural Health, which was out of Birmingham at the time. And I enjoyed the studies, enjoyed, the assignments and things that I had to do, but still didn't really know, how I was going to, formulate Temple Keepers into a business where I could serve and help people.
Yes.
And so I took a reflexology course, became a certified reflexologist. So I'm getting all this knowledge and wisdom. So I was like, okay, so now how do I use it? Right. So, I kind of started the business up probably during some type of recession that we had, 2004, right? One of those, like you had to, right? Was it 2004? One of those we had several of them.
Yeah.
Um, and so I started up then because, I was, not doing so much work at that time in the corporate arena because I started in the corporate arena.
Okay.
But still, I think my challenge is I was in this by myself, right? And so I know today you cannot work solo. You cannot be in a business solo. So I found that out. It took me a long time. I'm, working on that now and have just put together a mastermind team. So in navigating solo, I just found out there was so much I didn't know. I think I wasn't getting out enough, and networking enough with people, and I'm just doing, my little research on my own, providing some of my service. We're like, oh yeah, we like your services, you know. But there was other things that I should have done. Like I said, as far as networking, I should have probably partnered with maybe some different businesses that were in the holistic arena and maybe use some of their space to do reflexology, or I also do the detox foot bath, and make recommendations for food and lifestyle.
Yeah.
Because my primary, I've veered off in so many different directions, but my primary focus, I'm getting back to today, which is my passion, which is teaching people how to manage, I'll say, their lifestyle. My slogan is going to be refueled for life, right? So it's going to teach you how to, it's a 12-week program. You're going to learn how to detox your body first, because that's very important, because no matter who you are or what you do, how clean you eat, you're going to have toxins in your body just because we live in this environment, right? Yeah. And then there's the diet. That's the lifestyle, which is also very important. Teaching people how to change their diet, how to learn how to read food labels. If we have to do that, I'd like for people to eat, food in its natural state, but we know that's not going to happen all the time.
Yeah.
So if you're going to buy something in a package, look at the label, the nutrition facts plus the ingredients. There's so many things hidden in there that maybe perhaps we don't even know how to pronounce, right? And we probably don't even look at it. We look at the marketing, it says, 50% less sodium, but then there's the fat that they added back in there, or the added sugars. So to me, having that knowledge is very important, because a lot of times we're consuming these things that we think are sometimes good for us, and they really are at some level, not so great for our bodies. So providing that education and teaching people how they can, make their meals. Now, there's going to be a little work involved. You're going to have to do some prep. I recommend maybe on the weekend, Saturday or Sunday, spending the day, prepping food for the week, at least for 3 or 4 days. That way, when Tuesday comes or Monday comes, you don't run to Kroger and get their baked chicken or whatever they have, because I'm vegan, I don't eat that. But you don't run out and get something fast. You have something healthy that you can go to, in your refrigerator and eat. And today with things kind of going up, the price is going high, inflation. You're better off, preparing something and having it to eat later. So that's very important, to teach people, how to, make some food, I call it food prep or whatever, and, have something ready for themselves to consume, or their family, and make it a family affair. Okay, Saturday, we're cooking this and we're cooking that, I'm going to start doing, little videos on showing them how to make things that I think are easy, and tasty. Because a lot of people, when they think, healthy or vegan, they don't think healthy. I mean, they don't think tasty.
Right.
And they kind of turn their nose up to it. So showing them, that it can be tasty.
Yeah.
One thing I'll say about nuts and berries, I've gotten some very good food to go there. Like I really love the chickpea salad. Actually, I started making my own after eating it there.
Yeah, and it's a super easy thing to make. It's not very many ingredients, and
Exactly.
it does. And as long as you use the what's the flavor? I think we use, it's like a kelp type flavor or something like that. That actually
Adult flakes, is it?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
and that makes it taste like, that gives it that kind of nut-ish, like
Yeah.
people normally put in their tuna salad, right? And I think
Right.
relish, like that, all of the little different things. I think people a lot of times, especially when they're looking to make a move more towards plant-based, don't realize you can use all the same ingredients that you would in whatever you were making your chicken salad, and just switch it out for a different, protein source that comes from a plant.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I started making my own mayonnaise. I got a hemp seed mayonnaise recipe online from Dr. Sabi, or one of his followers. And so now I make that, and I kind of use it in everything. It's like a salad dressing. It's like a, mayonnaise if I'm making a wrap or something. So, that's a real good. It's pretty easy. Hemp seed, onion powder, a little oil, and, maybe oregano and basil. So it's pretty simple.
Yeah. Great. So tell me a little bit more about this mastermind group that you are putting together.
Okay. So the mastermind team is a team where we get together, and I'm laying out some tasks and objectives that I'm trying to complete for this year. And so um, I had my first meeting on Sunday, so I met with them. And so actually one person just participated on Sunday. And so we set out some goals for some things that I need to do in the next 2 weeks. It's good for accountability. Um, the way in which I need other people's ideas or maybe their experience that they have in the world, because again, I might be in my own little world, and I might be creating a candle or some soap or something, and I might think it's great, and somebody else might look at it and say, well, it could use this, or I would prefer to have this ingredient, or I'm allergic to that. So just getting other people's feedback, also marketing feedback, right? Because I'm not the best person with marketing at all, because I come from a technology background in the corporate world. So I'm just kind of straight lace. I don't think of all the bells and whistles. So the mastermind team is coming together with their great ideas. And, one of them is good in accounting. So, when you're running your business by yourself, it's hard to do everything, right? And so one's going to help me with accounting, one's going to help me with the marketing, and one is just going to be overall kind of like project management, helping me to say, okay, you said you're going to do this. Okay, so this is the date. We'll get back together and hopefully, it'll be done. So that's what I'm expecting from the mastermind team. And so I let them know, as I start off, um, I can't pay them right now, but I can pay them with products and services, like maybe if they need me to, you know, uh, provide some candles or something for some of their clients, or do a reflexology session, detox foot bath. I'll be glad to help them until, my revenue source.
Well, that's a beautiful way. And one of the things that I love about these interviews is seeing how each entrepreneur utilizes their community in a really unique and creative way. And ultimately, as I kind of go through the end of each month I'm going to kind of target a different segment of the population. So next month we'll be talking to all the women business owners, although I've got many women business owners that I've already done some interviews with. But really coming out of this, like I'm seeing all of these things where as small business owners we struggle, and then how we've been super creative to solve those problems. And I really want to share that with everybody, because I feel like this mastermind concept of utilizing your community and really leaning into, it's okay to not know everything. It's okay to not, be an expert in every area, is really important for a lot of different people. So let me ask you this: what, as business owners, we encounter a ton of fear and doubt, right? So how do you, like, what do you employ to kind of overcome some of those things?
Well, I get up every morning and I have to do my meditation. I listen to Joe Dispenza and Abraham Hicks every morning. They have one that I just really love, because it's really talking about your mind and your thoughts, and how if you really focus on it, you can do it. And I'll do that, and it works. So it's really focusing on your mind, having positive affirmations, having positive people around you, and I'm talking to myself all the time, saying, "You can do this. You got this." And my understanding is, if you speak those positive words, your subconscious mind and your cells will carry it out. So everything that you think and speak is going to come to pass. So I've learned that that is so true, negative or positive. So I'm focused on now saying everything positive, even though sometimes, because I'm human, I will feel like, oh my God, this is so much. How am I going to do all this? And then I'll just say, okay, one bite at a time. I have this success list that I write in weekly, sometimes daily, but I do it for the week. And I write down what I may have accomplished that day or that week. And that makes me feel good. I mean, like I've accomplished something, because sometimes you're running around and you're doing all this and you feel like, did I get anything done? So right. So writing down the little things or things that you might do each day, to me, makes me feel like, okay, I am getting something done. So it's just kind of, for me, it's being focused, and making sure that, I just have to stay positive. And that's the thing. Even when you're going to have setbacks, because that's just life, something's going to happen that's going to be like, oh man. I mean, like yesterday I got locked out of my house. My garage door wouldn't open up, and I didn't really have the keys to get in my house. Who doesn't have keys to get in their house? I'm so used to going through the garage. And so I was cool, and my affirmation that I always say is, why do things always work out so well for me? Even in the midst of something like that, I kept saying that, right? So I had to call a locksmith. Who wants to call a locksmth, right?
Right.
We won't talk about the cost, but I met a very nice person and we had some good conversation about, he's an Israelite.
Ooh.
And so there was just a lot of things that we had to talk about, about, I don't know, the world and politics. And we aligned. And I was like, wow, well, maybe that's why this happened. Because I was like asking God, like, why is this happening to me?
Yeah.
So, I try to make something positive out of everything that doesn't always feel so positive.
Yeah.
And also, I also want to be grateful, have a mind of gratitude, no matter what happens.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, at least, I was able to call someone and get someone over here. A couple of my neighbors came and helped me, and they were very kind. We couldn't figure it out. But, to me, I want to give thanks for that,
And that
because
is so important. Absolutely. That mindset, that positive mindset is really, I think it's something that I know a lot of young people struggle with today. I know that it's difficult when you read any news source or you look at anything on the internet or any social media app, there's a lot of negativity out there. So
yeah.
That positive affirmation is a huge thing that will keep you, in that right mind space. So let's switch directions just briefly and talk a little bit about your products that, we sell these candles and I love them. Like I have one in every room of my house.
Okay, great.
So I bring your joy into my house every single day.
Okay.
Tell me a little bit about, how you landed on the candles, the scents that you have, the ingredients. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so I landed on the candles, I want to say haphazardly, because a friend called me several years back and said, hey, I'm going to take a candle class. You want to come? And I said, okay, candles might be a good addition, So I went and took the candle class. And I guess for me, candles provide a sense of peace and serenity, I've switched from the cotton wicks to the wooden wicks, and that's a whole nother ambiance or energy. It sounds like crackling in a fireplace, and it's much more calmer. And so one of my secrets that people don't know, well, a lot of people know, is I have no sense of smell. Uh, Nothing to do with COVID. I don't know how I lost it in 2012, but I think when I was playing around with essential oils and sniffing them, undiluted, I think it knocked something out, but thank God I can still taste. So I understood, fragrances or essential oils, aromatherapy, and the properties that each, essential oil had. So that's what I started basing things on. So I was buying my fragrances from the Flaming Candle or Candle Science, and they would list the notes, the top, middle, and bottom. So while I would look at that to determine, okay, well, maybe, my clients would like that because I know what this smells like. I know what that smells like. I'm also always trying to have candles that are going to be calming, reduce stress, and just get you into that Zen spirit, right? And so it took me a while without a sense of smell to put the right amount of fragrance in there. And when I first started, people were like, I don't smell anything. I don't smell anything. So I'm like, okay, I went back to the drawing board, and now they're like, oh, I love your candles. They smell so good. And so I'm grateful for that I didn't give up without a sense of smell. I'm like, well, I can still do this.
Amazing.
And so it's working, So I was making some other products like butter bars, with body butters. I still make soap. I was making insect repellent, hand sanitizer, beard oil, all this.
Yeah.
And I was like, that really isn't my focus. And how I ended up making all those products was I would go to a vending event and someone would, in my mind, challenge me and say, oh, well, do you make this? And I'm like, no. And then I'll come home and decide to make it. Right.
Yeah.
And so I ended up with all these products, and it becomes a lot of work when you're by yourself.
Yes.
And you're doing all this in your kitchen. Your kitchen is no longer your kitchen, And so I was working with a coach last year, and so they said, that's not really you. Why don't you stick with your passion for, teaching people about, health and wellness and, detox and things like that. So I was like, great. But I said, I'm going to stick to my candles and my soap because to me, that's a part of, the decompress side of my, offer, and soap is important because everything you put on your skin, goes into your bloodstream. There's, a lot of products out there where the soaps, have so many chemicals and people, are getting sick and they don't know why. They have asthma and allergies. And
Yes.
so my soap is a, bestseller. I have a lot of repeat customers that get my soap and my candles, So that's how I got there. But
Yeah.
like I said, I'm cutting back. I'll tell people I'll make, butters on a special order, but it's a lot of work to make a body butter,
Yeah. Yeah.
butter bars are kind of easy. But again, if you're doing 5 different things, and you're trying to help clients and have appointments and things like that, it becomes a lot. I have one of my nieces comes over and helps me, a couple of times a month, do the packaging for some of the products and
Yeah.
things like that. So that's very helpful. But
Yeah.
I'm excited about my mastermind team because, like I said, I realize I cannot do it all by myself. I just don't know it all. And so listening to them, and finding out more from them is great. And it's diverse age group as well. So I love talking to young people because they just have a mind like, "Ooh, really? How'd you come up with that?"
Raise
I'm like,
things differently. That's right.
I was like, I would have never thought of that. I'm like, thank you. you know. So I appreciate that. So like I said, I'm excited about the mastermind team.
Yeah. So who is your biggest inspiration on your journey? Like who were your mentors?
Wow, that's interesting. Um,
Or who were you inspired by today?
if since it's Black History Month, I can look at some of the people, I can recall some names. What was the lady that took people through the underground? I can't think of her name right now, but um, she's an inspiration to me because she had a lot of health issues and she was older, but she just took so many people to freedom and she just did not back down, at all. Um, and so I look at a lot of the people. Last year, I did a lot of posts on Black History Month, like every day, and just looking at a lot of different of the people that came through, particularly during slavery time or the early 1900s, and their momentum and their ability to just like persistence and to keep going. It was just amazing to me because I'm like, I don't have those issues today. I don't have those problems. So if they could do it, I could do it. Oh no, another one. Alex Haley. I read something about him, right? Because he was kind of older when he really became famous with his book. And
Yeah.
at one point, he was just so disgusted. He had spent lots of money. He was in debt, traveled all over the world trying to get, all this information for Roots for his book. And one day he was with some friends and I think like a little event at a boat or something. And he was getting ready to commit suicide because he was just so, fed up and disgusted, looked like he wasn't getting anywhere. And something came over him, some faith or something came over him and he got his inspiration, got his faith back and kept pushing, and then Roots came and I'm
Yeah.
like, wow, that's amazing because here he is in his 60s, right? And he just came back, and made it. And so I'm like, that's my inspiration right there, because we all get there. Well, I know a lot of business owners get there and they don't continue to go. I think it's a process, a long process. It takes patience. And just the attitude is, I'm not quitting. I'm not quitting. I'm also hoping to leave. No, I am going to leave a legacy, for my family. I don't have any children, but I have nieces and grandnieces and nephews, and I want their life to be different, and I know one of my nieces will definitely stick with me. Some of the others may catch on and nephews, but I just want to have something for quote the Harmon name. And so that's important to me. So that is my why,
Yeah.
is to leave a legacy for, the Harmon name because, I've seen the Harmon name on some type of a bus, but I want it to be on more than a bus, right?
We're going to have it all over the Nuts and Berries
Yeah.
media. So that's a step in the right direction. Hopefully.
Yeah.
So let's
Yeah.
final thing, what advice would you give to an aspiring entrepreneur? So somebody who's coming on, they're going to do something on their own. They're going to step out from, relying on somebody else and kind of start to do something new. What advice would you give them?
My advice would definitely be to try to establish a team, do a lot of networking, go out there and areas where, the field that you're interested in, or maybe, you know, not even interested in, but just get out there and network. And also don't give up. Realize that patience is a virtue. Rome wasn't built in a day. Anybody that that is doing well, they didn't get there overnight. I don't know anybody that got famous overnight.
Yeah.
It just doesn't exist. So you got to have that patience, that tenacity, that stick to it, that perseverance, and know that it's going to happen. But it's again, affirmations and believing in yourself and knowing that it can happen. And don't, most of all, compare yourself to others. Because when you look and see someone, oh man, they did this. But when I see other people that I know doing well, I'm so happy for them. And I, support them. I go out and try to support what they're doing. I want to support them because I want the same support from, it doesn't have to come from them, but when you do good and, support others, it comes back to you. So I'm always trying to help the small person or someone who's aspiring. When I go to these vending events, I see so many creative vendors and I'm like so excited and happy for them. And I support them and, tell people about them. So I want to help everybody. I think we have to have a spirit of helping and not that selfishness. We're all in this together. And again, don't compare yourself to others. Just walk your journey and know that you're going to get there.
That's
That's
awesome. That's wonderful advice. I I appreciate it so much. So let me know, do you have any questions for me at Nuts and Berries or anything that you might want to know? We will be airing. I have my very wonderful person that does all of the editing of videos. So she takes little pieces of the clip and then she puts them into social media posts, and then we'll have the whole interview that will go live on YouTube as well.
Okay. Oh, nice.
And upload it. So do you have any questions for me as a Nuts and Berries person or as an entrepreneur?
I just want to say I'm grateful to you for allowing me as a small man to take my product in, and I really appreciate that. It was a great start. I wrote about it when it happened, and told people I persevered and kept on at it, and so now I'm very grateful for that. I love Nuts and Berries, as a health market because, I can find a little bit of everything there. Like I said, I really enjoy the prepared foods. I know that they're good and healthy. I can get the bulk foods, which is important to me. I can get produce. So it's a very good. And I know you all are kind of semi closed down the Decatur, or what's happening there?
Decatur, just because it wasn't we were losing quite a bit of money and we were really struggling with staffing and some other types of things that
Sure.
COVID is a result of COVID, sadly. But we definitely still have our neighborhood market in Brookhaven. And so we're in the kind of relaunching of all of the produce things and seasonally, produce and all of that stuff. So we have basically everything there. It's just a smaller store. So it doesn't appear like there is as much, but it's just kind of displayed differently.
Yeah, well, I'm familiar with the Brookhaven store, and I go there when I go to Costco. And it's been around for a while because I've known about Nuts and Berries for how many years?
43.
Oh yeah, I think I've probably known about it for maybe 25. So it's definitely a cornerstone in the community that has developed. So oh, I know. I could ask, would you all be interested maybe in carrying some of my soaps? I'm now making a African black soap that's doing very well. So
So
maybe we can talk about that.
after this and get you to send me over a price list, because I think that
Okay.
that is something that we could really do immediately to support you and really provide to our customers as well. So yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And then we will then we'll put an order in. We need a candle order too, but we'll put an order in, and then we'll put that in conjunction with the kind of the interview, so people can see we're carrying the soaps, and then they can listen to the interview and learn about it.
Okay, great. Yeah. So
Well, thank you
that's it. Yeah.
so much, and look out on social and for the post when it goes out. It should be out maybe next week sometime.
Okay. Okay. All right.
So
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me.
absolutely, we appreciate